Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Again, Manuel with you, and I'm going to be showing you an quick introduction into Flask. You are done Python, or you were not shown the proper way to web development with Python. Pray and this is the first time up your skills in 2026. Today's video, we're going to any Flask through a currency converter, a proper currency converter, and where it takes a value and that choosing from a range values, maybe convert from euros to dollars and get it. What we'll be doing today, and going to learn too much things from this. So we'll be building this today. It takes a value maybe 1,000 and you're converting from maybe dollars to naira. Convert it your internet range, it converts it for you. What we do today, go project and focus on what we do. This video, we're going to learn how to build a Flask app step by step, learn how to connect an API Flask, and you learn how to render templates with Flask properly. If you are done, let's go ahead to start building our project. There are pretty some requisites for this course for video. First of all, you need to have a basic understanding of Python, to know at least variables, functions, and dictionaries. To have full understanding of APIs and HTTP requests. And you should have a Python knowledge of decorators, context managers, and high Python knowledge. You don't actually need to have knowledge of Flask or APIs and stuff, or maybe I've just heard is enough. For environment setup, the tools needed on your computer, first of all, is Python, then Flask, the request library, the PyCharm. So for environment setup, tools needed are Python. You need to have Python version of 3 or higher to have Flask on your system installed, and a request library. You need to use any code editor, a text editor, PyCharm or VS Code. I'm going to be using PyCharm for today. And so we need to have an internet connection, API calls we're making. Let's go ahead to going to be the project structure. Going to project, we're going to have the app.py file, have a template folder and a template. At the templates, we're going to have our HTML. So essentially, Flask is going to handle the backend logic and HTML is going to handle content UI. Go ahead and start creating this. So my desktop or any document, any directory, have any part you feel like creating, go ahead and create a folder. This is our 13 project, and project is a currency converter. Come here and call it currency converter. Currency go ahead and open it with any of your choice. I'll be using PyCharm, so my system already auto suggests open it as a PyCharm project or as a code PyCharm, because I have PyCharm installed on my system already. Wait while PyCharm loads. My PyCharm has loaded. Configure my Python interpreter to be Python 3.13. Let's go ahead and start. I remember that in the app.py that we need an app.py file. So I'm going to rename this file to app.py, and this is where we are going to be running our code from. So I'm going to rename this to app.py in lowercase, sorry, factories. Next thing I'm going to do, come ahead and create a virtual environment. Virtual environment is like that spaces where different versions of Python packages that do not interfere with that. It's very simple in PyCharm. All you need to do is to use the Python -m, then and the name of your virtual environment. That's it. That's So that this is the name of the virtual environment. So but it's always called just a mention. And name it anything you choose. Sometimes I used to name it myself. Just left to you to what your preference, what you like. Let's wait to the virtual environment load. So our virtual environment has loaded successfully. Next thing we are going to do is to activate the virtual environment. We are supposed to be inside the virtual environment. And to do that is very simple. What to do is to name what you call your virtual environment. So if I come out of them, that will be them. And script, you use the script and run slash again activate on your PyCharm. You can see that we're actually actively inside our virtual environment. And this works if you're in the command prompt too. But now we're in our virtual environment and like kind of secret room, confined room where you can work with different versions of packages and will not be having problems with the interpreter or the global Python environment. Once. Let's go ahead and install Flask. To install Flask in Python is very simple. Use the pip install Flask command and based on your network activity and speed, Flask should install in no less than 2 to 5 seconds, 2 to 5 minutes, sorry. Mine is installing. So Flask is going to install lots of packages. We have the Ginger and all of them. Then the uses. Some of them you don't really need to use it for it to Flask. Yeah, yeah. As Flask installed is for templating the HTML and the markup save here is to escape any dangerous HTML characters that are dangerous that are passed in a form. Just to escape them to avoid errors. There's a rule that says don't trust the client's error, something like that. So that aside, let's go ahead and set up our app.py. That means imported Flask, have installed Flask. Let's also install them. So for the pip on the terminal, install env. It's very simple. Python has installed .env. I'm going to suggest that we actually back our file up with GitHub as well. Something that you do so that avoid file loss. So I'm going to load Git right now and I'm going to create a new repository. Repository name, you can name it anything, but I'm going to name mine currency converter. So currency converter and the public so that everybody can access it and just create the repository now. I have git bash installed in my system. I'm going to load git from my system. On git now. So to actually be accessing our PyCharm path, copy the path here, the absolute path. Come over to our git bash and enter the path with clicking paste. And for the first thing we're going to do, initialize a empty git repository there. And we don't actually have any files, so not add. These are the other steps we're going to do when we have files. We commit and we'll push it to the branch. For now, let's go and be working. The app.py, I'm going to clear it with a control A. First thing we are going to do is to import Flask. So Flask, import Flask, and we also import the .end and reload. So we say from env import load.env, and this load.env is used to load files from environment variables. So if you're using environment variables, I use the load.env and that's the import OS. First thing I'm going to do is to create a Flask instance. We set app equals to Flask and we tell Flask where our application is. So we set the name, telling Flask where our application is. Next thing we are going to do, that is then I've actually created Flask. Next thing we are going to do return the Flask app. Let's just create a route. So in the decorators, the app.route decorator, just create an empty route and just the most basic I have. Then for details, if index and done the world. Last thing we're going to do is to turn the already returned. Let's actually run the app. So if name equals to main or app or to run, let the debug to be so wrote the code correctly, you see a green icon that I can run from. For me, I love running from the terminal because actually we activated this run from the terminal. So it's very simple. The Python command or app.py and Flask is going to run for you. And see do not use the production environment. Click on the link or open your browser, whatever browser you're using. I'll come here and but want to serve on actually hit so that our application is created successfully. So we have got this part working. Next part we're going to do is to go ahead and configure our request. So let's pretty come here to the API I'm using is exchange rate API. You're going to see the description and it's actually simple to show you the steps how I did mine. Open a new app profile, email address, and let's come to exchange rate. Yeah. So I've now actually signed in on this account. First that you are going to see, that's the site you are taking. Then very simple, sign in or you put the email address. Let's sign in as a new account. Sign in, have an account, you can signing up using a free account. So pro planners free 2 week and just a free account. So I put an email address and password. Just the password to be. I'm going to verify that we are human and create our account. Very simple. So next thing I'm going to do is go to your Gmail. Now, your Gmail just need to do is to for the link that they will send for you and you go back and I'll actually prove to them that you are human or do a verification they are doing by my Gmail load and yeah, that they sent for me and click on this. Thank you. And it's actually confirmed. Next thing I'm going to do, once you enter the page, you see that your API key has been generated. What you need to do is to copy your API key and they have been giving you a demo request. Since this is a free account, you have a API request quota of 1,500 monthly. Like that, if you have followed this step correctly, you are going to set up API account and your API key. Let's go back to what we are doing. Back to PyCharm and tab again. This full screen and I should increase the size of the text that can be seen. Files and settings. Settings, you can go to editor or find your fonts and say I'm going to actually change the size. Let's increase the size. So let's say 17 will be enough. Very okay and just good. Go back to our application again. Okay, so this is pretty big and very okay. Let's go back to working. So our app.py and just say our app.py what request library. So what request and this sure you don't have it installed. Install very simple all the pip install request. Python is going to install the request library for us. I think we are going to be needing to also render template and the request class from Flask. Now don't confuse yourself with the two. One from Flask is using accessing form data that are sent to us from the forms, while the one that we are installing right now is used this data from APIs, API calls. First has installed successfully in our virtual environment. This our API key. So API key is an API key to our API key. So it's like create key, create API key, and head over to folder and create a new file. Create a new I'm going to call the file env one letter. Env is just basically going to have the create API keys. Create API key, but go ahead and copy it from Chrome. Actually from Chrome and find it. Actually gotten it from our env. Let's load our env. So we are loading the env value. I highlight on it. You can get the key. No way to get your API key from. Let's go ahead and fix our route. We don't want to be returning hello world. Actually going to return something and it's not hello world. Therefore, I will be returning. Go and fix ourselves first. First thing we're going to do is to set the results done and draw. Now we'll set these two variables. We want to actually be accessing our HTML. First of all, we want to get their request.forms, whatever they are getting. So if the request method was to put in and set the amount because the request.form gets set it to amount. Now, there's one thing I want to do. Come here and you set the methods of the route to get and post. It allows Flask to be flexible. How to now know that it's expecting to request either a get request, a post. Set this Flask is going to only be expecting one request, which is get request by default. Now also getting that thing, so also get currency and to currency. So from currency, request form get currency and okay. Finally the to currency request dot form get currency. It's actually really and actually show what you are getting. Our currency converter, we are getting this value of this, you are getting the two currency and also getting the amount from it. Go ahead and work on our keys, their keys. We are going to try this URL. So the URL is goes to copy here from Chrome back here, and here I will be using an example of a request. An example of a request here, but yeah, after this you can see that my API key is here. After this, okay, and the from currency and the amount. Go ahead and that's actually what we're using. Your docs from here, your docs, and find conversion. If you are using pay, down, come down, come down. API will be using any get request to this, and we'll put our API key and what you want to convert from, what you want to convert to, the amount. So you can copy this and fix our code, pass our code, and with an F string, paste this, hide this part, and see this very well. This is going to be our API key, and if I use an F string outside, so let's change this and pass the API key to it uh, properly. And it's actually going to be our from currency. That's why I created it first. So from currency, it's going to be our to currency, and that's actually going to be our amount. Change this to also value our amount. Let's set the response now. Then we're having red lines, and because we have not closed the come here and divide this into set our response equals to request library.get URL. Set the data equals to response.json. Should actually print the data. Let's go ahead and the data result is success. Then let's return the result. So data results success. Results print data. So the way we access these elements, not magic. We actually checked and read through it APIs, and so that the response of the APIs has a response called result, and whatever the result is set to. Reading through APIs is not for beginners. Everyone, even standard developers, do this every time. Let's go ahead and run the code again. Running Python app.py. Okay, so we have an error here. Don't return the block. So say accept error, accept, and we say error equals to something went wrong, and we'll tell the user try again, and that generate message. Let's try this again. Right. So if you click on this link, we should send a request and we should get that from database. Go ahead and click on the link to open of age for me. We have an error. They said the view function for index did not return valid response. The function either returned none or ended without a return statement. That's fine. What this means here is that okay, at the end of my function, I did not return anything. That's actually at the end of the function here, return data going to be fine. At the end, be sure well. It's only supposed to be there. Then you are going to return data. Like I can't access data. Let's set data variable to be on here too. At the end of request, I'm going to actually be returning data. If the data of the result is success, go ahead and actually set our result variable top. Set it to rounded data conversion. Actually be listening for a conversion result. Round and you get the result to else. Come here and set the valid currency code. So let's outside the block and catch and talk. So I see the error here to be something wrong. Try again. At the end, you're going to so let me actually show you this data JSON formatting. Go over to Chrome. This is it results you are accessing. So if the result is success, result is and it's actually the conversion result you're looking at. If it's rounded to two, what we'll be getting. Then going back, we can now return result is not this is not returning HTML file. And return render template and you can return an HTML file to client, setting the result to this and the error to this, not to be result and okay, not to be result and not to be what we basically did here. Check for us. So if the result was a request was a post request, add the forms and get three key values from the forms. That is the form currency, currencies and the amount. And you try to send a request to the server through this URL and the response, grab the response. If the data is equals to the data of the result is success as I showed you, the result is going to be rounded and else it's going to show an invalid currency code and we got an error outside. Before we code and run this, let's actually have this else. This is actually in an else block. Actually have an if block here. If not an amount from not currency is not from currency, error variable to for the field. I put it else actually now try and I'm going to shift and tap OK. Just fine. Going to scroll back and see better. And this is where you only having the error. So if there's a type error, maybe that then I should return something wrong. Code itself is pretty self-explanatory. We're done with our app.py. Next, we are going to do is to create our HTML structure. We're going to create input fields. We're going to create currency drop downs and currency drop downs. I'm going to create a submit button, and we're going to create form method displaying our results dynamically. Let's go ahead. Back in our source code, very simple. Create template folder first of all. Come here and the template folder we create an HTML file. So text. Python generate an HTML file for us. This HTML file we are going to only be linking to style.css, but we don't have that now. And let's go ahead and create what's skeleton of our page. Creating a div here and give this a class of container styling purposes. So container. So as guys container inside the div will have h1 currency converter. And create a form. Set the method to be go ahead and create the input for the amount inputs from the from input for the two, and this remember that these inputs are going to be options input. So first of all, the input for the amount is a basic input system. Type of number text supposed to be number. Sorry for the typo. And this name is actually what Python is accessing. So the name is amount and placeholder enter amount, and the step set the step to that and set required. I do require Flask to start HTML can always tell the user that stuff is required. Select and we set the name is from currency. Set the required flag, close it. And inside this select, you're going to be having options. So option create a value and we'll set the value to be empty. Where and you can set this from option and to option. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to replicate this 4 places, 4 to 5 places to be USD, going to be USD, and the value is going to be USD, going to be EUR, value is going to be EUR, going to be GBD, and the value is going to be GBD. Currencies are Nigeria, and I'm going to paste it again for one last country, Canada. So platform is card. I've done this for from for currency and again like easier for us. All these two same thing. That say I'm going to change this to two, and for the font change I'm going to be creating after the select and all the forms create a button element. Sorry, button type just be convert. I'll be the text slash button convert. Type is going to be submit. Submitting it to the form. form has ended. Go ahead and print our result. Let's actually check what you created is working and fix errors if there are any. So we'll run Python by go over. Let's go to from and thing and I'll actually fix it too. It's actually working fine. From USD and let's type it now and convert. Actually expect the response because we have not had the response with HTML. Down here, an error here. This is HTML is supposed to a small letter. It's actually supposed to start from a capital letter. Pretend we didn't see that. After rendering the button in the form and form, talk about Ginger. This time I'm hearing about Ginger to simplify it for you. That is basically templating HTML. Now, now let's imagine you are building application. Wanted to prove to some people that backend engineers are other engineers. So they don't want front-end engineers project. So you want to do everything by yourself. So you're building block. Block. Let's use a block for now. I build a block next time. Let's say you're building a block. This block you want to be rendering dynamically. Be like your name, you want to enter your name, then enter your pictures, the latest pictures that you took of recent. Like that. It's going to be very hard for you to do it without template getting engine. Because come to think of it, you need to now be needing to use JavaScript rendering all these things supposed to be so when Python provided a very simple way for us to do. So I'm going to be showing you the simple way. Here we have two things. We have the statement and we have the expression. Expressions are always being made like this. So expression basically comes like this, and every expression has an ending. You have the beginning and the ending. So if this is the if this is a for loop, so you can say if imagine we're looping over something for items for items in grades, we're looping over a grade of items. So we are going to end it like with the end for if doing other things too. This is actually how expression behaves. And for statement is simply one line. So let's say when we looked over this, you want to play the item name. So that's actually how it's going to behave. So the items and maybe you can use the square bracket notation and item name. So this is actually basically Ginger and it's something that if you know very well, it's going to actually be simple to work with Python and HTML and you can prove it very well. That aside, let's go ahead and use it. So this is actually a results checking through an expression. So if results, just say if results is equals to and still leave it like if results Python automatically complete true. Showing you tip, create a div and create a class results. Then say the converted amount equals to general div from tag and by the statement result. That is just for the converted amount. So we're going to end the if. Remember I told you that they always come with closing and closing. So for end so if there's an error, we also render an error too. So an expression is an error. Come here and you create a div and we'll give the class error. This to do is work and it will just come here and add the error. Lastly, if we don't F, then Ginger is going to us. and try it out to end. Don't end it properly. I'll tell you that you are not going anywhere, you cannot pass this test. So let me ah pass. I'm going ahead to try this now. So go ahead to Chrome and again, and let's give it an amount. Maybe convert from $100 to, and let's convert the amount. Actually, the first bug you need to have not rendered uh, properly. So the first bug we are going to fix is that this is actually supposed to be two. Okay, fix that one and two. And now come to our app because from our app that we're having the filling. Okay, let's try this again. Try to change from 100 to 100 USD to convert it. Having the same error, we need to check through it again. So now I found the there's not an amount and there's not a currency. But add to currency, any error should come out. If I run this, I'm not connected to work. Run here is very low, connected, and just go ahead and run it. Just load it, then the request again. And actually it and come out the converter amount is 1.76 and try it again 230 and your network speed. Mine is fast from Canada to yeah, but and that this will actually change this like a real application. You can see that here top is exchange rate, top is my LTD is tied to let's probably change like converter. Network is slow but without on your network out for you. Go ahead and change now in our index.html so currency converter, currency converter. Let's go to the page again and check it out. Turn of it. Then and 7 normal one to 5,000 to run my own. Stop the and let's run it again. Python app.py from reload our error now and now close this tab. Right, the whole stuff is entering as a head again. So trying to convert something before that errors because the network, that's why it's showing connection error trying to resolve, and so it's showing me internet connection site of record is working because he worked the first time. All I wanted to do was change the name that to that. Name has changed and let's move forward. So we'll go ahead and start backing logic right now. Get the form data from the user and we'll build the API URL dynamically. Sending request to the API and we're going to multiply the amount by the exchange rate and turn the result to HTML. That next thing we're going to do is error handling and validation. Validate the input, the invalid currency code, API request errors, and going to use the try and accept block for that. And the last improvement we are going to do going to be for adding UI with CSS. You can deploy to Heroku, you can add your loading spinner, and you can add more currencies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the CSS to make it fine and that I go and create a static file. Sorry, in our main directory. So static folder, and in the static we create a style.css. Style.css. Style CSS inside the static. Actually wrong. CSS I'm going to rename CSS not be 3 Lembo. Up and let's start styling font family. Styles I've already named before. Yeah, of try and test. Background them is something I did before. Back gradient. That's where Visual Studio Code like that was a free edition of Python supports Visual Studio Code editor and what's other text and center. Going to do now is I'm going to break this code. I'm going to drag out this. Just resizing this so that you can see clearly what it to our index.html. At the top of our file, as a normal HTML developer would do, can can link, not necessarily close, can always link dash it. Now in our link, we come here and create a link in relation to style sheet and shref to URL4, rendering the static folder we created. Static folder, close it and add the file name style.css. Fine, and with brackets, let's reload the page again. Properly, and that's the right way to link a style sheet to HTML document for. Now in the style.css, align the items to center. Set the height to 100, margin to work on the container. Set the background white, 40 pixel radius, pixels and to be and fit. Align the text to the center using the box shadow to 0, 10 pixels and 5 pixels. That's left up and bottom, and there's 0 point brackets. Go ahead and reload the page again. Only meter. That's fine now. You have your own styles. You're free to find come and style it and push it back. I'll be very happy to see that. Setting the margin bottom, 20 pixels, H1. Then fit elements. Let's go ahead and start the input. Not only start it, we start the select. So select, start the width, set the 100%. Check this out. Coming out white. Padding 12 pixels. Going to actually place inside to the data. Set the margin top 10 pixels. Set the border on. We're actually going to set the margin spaces and border. Let's remove the border to align the border radius 5 pixels and background to color code. And see that's come out, and set the color of the text to white, the font size. So set the cursor. When we hover on it, we want the cursor to be a pointer. Set the transition 0.3 seconds. Let's reload the page again. That's really nice. It's coming out fine now. Okay, on. Set the button. So when we hover on the button, we want the background to change. Very simple. To color code 599. Page again. Over it changes to blue. That's very fine. Let's start the results. Come here and set the margin top 20 pixels, 10 pixels, background color, the color code, border radius 10 pixels, and color hash 782. We have an error. Let's actually start the error too. So imagine up to be 20 pixels, padding to be pixels, border radius, sorry, the background color code FD ground background. Okay. Border radius can set now to be pixels, and finally color FD. Okay. The page again. Supposed to come on nice, and I don't love the way the button is, but I actually fix that. Let's actually go ahead and fix our button. When the input element is not supposed to. Now we only set our button hover, we not even start our button. Since we set our input element, select element, let's fix that. So the width be 100, padding 12, and you don't actually need a background of this. The background should be bold. Okay, the border radius already set border radius 10 pixels, not supposed to be 25. Let's 10. Okay, let's reload the page again and setting shape. Color is white, this is very default, you don't need this one. And font size is change it to maybe 14. Not actually need transition for an input, so you're not stellar. So set the border the 1 pixel solid, font size 14, border radius this, and margin finally to help us structure everything. So set the margin to 8 pixels. This is how it's going to look. First, no, so 0, and let's reload it again. Better. Let's go ahead and style our button. We actually did button over, we not do the button. Fix that. Simple button and width to 100%, padding to be 4 pixels. Set the margin top be 10 pixels. The border down, and set the border radius 25 pixels. We actually made a mistake. Some of the stylings that were supposed to be for the button, set it with and select element and ground. We need a background element, so we could 3df the color to be white, size of 16 pixels, and never the cursor over on it. We want it to be pointer and transition 0.3 seconds. And let's reload this again. It's actually nice. Want something to happen on the over, I'm going to change this to make it look white. And let's see, color should be this color should be blue. Just set something here. Font weight, let's make the font weight stronger. Font weight 500. Actually a range of is it 100 to 900. So I'll spell it well. So 900. Okay, this is the last one better. On and actually 10 amount maybe 1200. Wi-Fi is on and it's connected converting to pounds, and You can see results is returned in green. I'm going to connect my Wi-Fi now. Then again, I've disconnected it, and let's say I want to convert this amount from dollars to naira. I'm having an error, but the error is supposed to be handled. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect it back. I want to test for the results. I want to test for the results, so I'm going to make a bug in the code now. Now in our code, let's go to our index.html and remind me in case I forget. Let's change the number to the amount. Just move an A and allow it to be mount and back to here. Try to convert this again. I'll be receiving a rate. I like this time for my network strength. Still a connection error, and only because of my internet speed. Can set it again. Mount still on mount, and try this. Let's change this to 10, 100, and let's say USD and pounds, and let's try to convert this. Show not an error. My internet speed is very well and good. Now and see. I'm actually having internet speed same thing. Let's close the save and run it again and load the web page. So let's convert an amount. That's to naira and converted. So this is basically of the application, and that's it. Just get your currency converter with API tags, and it's a very reward APIs and modern styling. Our advice you shouldn't stop here. You should take the project to next level, upgrade it based on your preferences. You can add more currencies, you can even add country flags and automatically populate the world currencies, and you can even add a currency swap button. So now using a swap button, you can improve the UI design based on what you want. And you can add a currency history chart. That means another web page for the currency history, and even deploy it online for the world to use. And if you deploy it, make sure to so I can test your application. That's how you go as a developer. You build, then you upgraded yours. Let me know in the comment section and send me the link and what features you added. Love to see how creative you got the application we built. It helped you understand Flags better. Make sure you like the video, drop a comment, subscribe and turn on notifications. We are building free projects here, not just tutorials. And in the next video, we're leveling up. See you in the next one.